Okay.
That's so funny.
School's back in session.
Yeah.
It's a school for wayward children.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's accurate. Her name's Carson.
Yeah. Trying to think of who the other person was.
All right, everybody, stop chatting.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi.
we're ready.
Hi. Me too.
Great.
What do you got?
This is Felix.
Okay.
I got him in May.
Yeah.
He is a 5-year-old Azteca, and we just do basic things.
He's little for an Azteca.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's not anticipated when he got off the trailer. I loved him.
So you bought him sight unseen, I didn't take it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was like, where's the pony? Is it in there? It was in there.
His personality is big, though.
It's very big. Very big.
Any problems or anything?
We struggled when I first got him with any kind of forward motion.
Okay.
So that's been our main goal, is just to pick up the energy and move forward. That's slowly but surely getting better. He has a little bit of an attitude, but it's not like real big. It's just like a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're just doing the basic things.
What did he do when he started under saddle?
He, like the first time I got on him, I asked him to go forward and he just stood there.
Did you start him or did someone?
No, he had 6 months of dressage training before I got him.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that looked like. But yeah, when I first got him, it was a lot of starting from scratch. It felt like he had been carried around just like in a box. And so we've been working on moving forward, and getting into the contact and all of that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. See what he does. Take time and just put it back to work when you're ready. You got this, right? the idea of that forward energy is right on, you know? That, I hate to say it jumps out, but like having me say that and then watching them, like, yeah, I can see where he wants to be a bit sticky and or could be. And then wants to just think, there's those moments where like, you'll see you kind of just driving or encouraging them to go, and he gives you that lift in the neck, and he kind of goes, do I have to go?
Yeah.
At first. In one way, say to him like, you're not supposed to really lift your neck up when I drive, you're supposed to kind of reach out to it. I might do a little bit of manipulation up front, just a little, you know, to encourage the neck to fall just a touch in those moments. But I think the bigger culprit is that response to the driving aid, right? Part of where I go, I want to do a little manipulation, because I just want to help them as much as I can, kind of get them to understand, so I'm not just having to kind of whack and kick when he wants to back off of it. But there might be further that they do have to do, to kind of go, you gotta just get up there and stay there.
Yeah.
So that I don't feel like every stride I'm kind of having to help you keep going.
Right.
The neck ends up just being, I think, a little bit of a visual, like a window into the way he's thinking. Because when we get that like forward, outward, stretching, raising idea through the neck, they really are showing us that they're kind of committed to leaning into the forward energy.
Yeah. That means it's not committed to the forward motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, like I said, I feel like a little bit, that might just be, you know, some easy bending lines and little bits of kind of wiggle of the bit and stuff to encourage, more than like take a hold and make him get his neck down.
Yeah.
But do just play with it a touch. I think that when we're kind of looked at the commitment or talk about that commitment on their part, about really just staying up there, there's a couple things that have to happen. They have to give us that feeling like I can take the leg off or the driving aid away and he'll stay going.
Yeah.
That makes sense, and it's what we all kind of want.
It's a struggle.
So yeah, and so what'll happen a lot is if I know that's what I want, what I have to get to, I'll say to myself, well, he's not quite forward enough yet, I don't want to take my leg off because he's gonna quit. Take it off anyway.
Okay.
Keep letting him make little mistakes. Where he quits and you kind of have to tap him or kick at him and go, you gotta kind of keep going on your own. I don't want to be responsible all the time.
Yeah.
And I always put that, or equate that back to this idea of like, well, when I'm lunging them, they kind of motor around. Nobody's up there driving in every stride. They can self-sustain that energy output. So take the leg off, take the driving away, let them make the mistakes, don't worry about correcting them. And then the other big piece is lots of moments where then the leg asks for something, and then a response is going to be. Or the leg asks for something and he gets quick praise because he did the right thing. So that would go to say to me in my mind transitions. I look at the transitions for a horse like him as you'll want to lock between the gates more than within the gate.
Okay.
Not that I wouldn't do it within the gate too, but I would lean towards between the gates. The between the gate, I feel like it's just more straightforward to quantify.
Right.
So if my leg asks for the trot, I'm like, no, I can't have it. Okay, here's the black, I'll chase him on. Versus if I'm in the trot and I ask him to give me a little bit of forward energy, push bigger, lengthen your stride, and so on. I could ask and I could feel it accelerate, but he might accelerate way more than I asked or way less than I asked. And that's hard to kind of go, that's exactly the amount of energy output I asked for.
Right.
Whereas the trend to the beginning, drop together, I can pretty quickly go, hey, like I asked you to canter and you're still trotting, or I asked you to canter and you're fumbling into canter 2 steps later.
Yeah.
Okay, trot again. So just with that in mind, little wiggle manipulation on the frame now and then. Like I said, it might just be some bending lines you mix in. And then lots of transitions. What I want often, you know, with the transition work is I want the ability to praise them or to correct them. And I look at it like I want the ability to train them, basically. I want them to make mistakes, or I want them to make the right decision, so that I can just keep saying to him, wrong one, right one, wrong one, right, until he really finds the right one every single time. And here, making sure to like Trot energy, I feel like, is pretty good. Make sure now that your calf come on. How much are you helping them?
Okay.
Let the leg just soften a little bit. And I'd let it soften with the mindset that he'll probably slow down. And as soon as he slows down, tap him with the whip.
Okay.
Careful with your posting. Don't help them too much either with the posting, right? So you're going, I'm not gonna work harder with my body pumping to keep you moving either. The leg comes off, the heel drops down, the posting gets a little smaller. And I just put it in my mind where I go, that doesn't mean I probably need to whip occasionally to remind me. Then I'd be throwing in a transition. Just simple, you know, where you drop the walk, leg stays off. If he's stuck back too much, it's a tap the whip, and then it's trot again. The kind of have two options. It's not like you couldn't kick him also, you know, give him a little kick. I try to default to the whip because I feel like if he's already sticky and I start into the kicking, I might start squeezing, and if I start squeezing, and I'm gonna start working again, and I start that
it's a vicious cycle.
right back in. But I also go, you know, like not little, but just stoic horses, they can handle me tapping them and go, I'm just gonna ignore that. You know, they can tighten to that too. So wherever you feel like you get really the better response, it should be from the whip, but that's not set in stone, and that would always be the case. Walk again. Trot again. Yeah, good. Those are moments I always go, just keep saying to yourself, you don't get a second chance.
Yeah.
You get 1A. So when my leg comes on and you don't trot, I won't squeeze harder, that's my second chance. Or I won't take the leg off and squeeze again as a second A. You get 1A and one chance. And so then the correction is that pass. And a walk again, great is good. And a trot again. Pass, good. Because then I feel like you really start saying to them, like I said, my leg is going to support you, so I'll use the whip to correct you. But I start really saying, this is my leg, now coming on, this is what I expect, and or this is what I demand. And walk again. And a drop, good. One, yeah, good boy. Okay, great with that when you're ready. Walk again. Drop right away. Good.
That was a nice one.
One of the biggest things that kind of has to happen with that work too is on your part or mine if I'm sitting on them, the willingness to let make a mistake.
Yeah.
Right? So I was saying that to Martin last night on the car ride home about the one horse I had been training. You know, if I rewind the clock 10, 15 years, I'd never ride that horse in a million years. Or I would ride the horse, right? Because I would do whatever it takes to make it work. Or I go, I don't like lazy horses, I'm not riding them, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm finding, and I find it really interesting, is that it's not just because I end up teaching it so much, is I think the turning point with that horse at home, I really let him make mistakes.
Yeah.
I let him quit, you know, like I collect this canter to a pirouette, and I go, you can walk if you want to, but if you walk, right, this whip is really gonna hit you. And so it starts being, we hate to say it's more his idea to not do it, but it really does start becoming their idea to keep working.
Yeah.
And now granted, it's their idea to keep working because the consequence is so intense. But it does feel like it's his prerogative then to want to work, right? He comes in with a better attitude. Yeah. Good. Nice. One of those things with that, that's where those transitions can be pretty helpful, is if you're not having to correct them now and then, you're probably not doing enough transitions. Or you're not giving them the moment to make the mistake, right? Not that this whole life should be like, every day you get on and you ride 30 transitions and I want you to correct them 25 times. But it's like in the learning process, you need them to make those mistakes so you can keep saying, yeah, I'm gonna take my leg off, my heel down, leg long, my posting's gonna get smaller. I'm gonna put out less energy to keep you trotting. And every time you slow down or any time you don't accelerate, when I use one pulse of an A, you get in trouble. Walk break again when you're ready. Good.
I like this walk transition.
That's where, like, you left, where you go up and sit, walk, and leg comes off.
Yeah.
And you can go, oh, I get to halt. And you go, no, and you trot again. And your leg then comes right back on. Versus, I know he's gonna really.
Put a glove on, sorry.
So right when I ask for walk on clamp or squeeze, keep him in the walk, and I need him walking, and then I'll be walking for him, and I'll ask him to trot in a minute with an even bigger squeeze, where there's no real clear black and white, you work, I don't work. Or, I'm gonna ask for the transition, and you're gonna do this part of the job, and if you don't hold up your end of the bargain, you get the correction. I think because so often we're kind of going, nobody's gonna do.
Yeah.
And I don't want any trouble, so let me just help him right here. Let me put my leg on and keep him from hitting the brakes when I go trot walk, so he doesn't
Yeah.
quit, because it's no fun to have to hit him all the time. That little bit of squeeze or that little bit of help though, starts negating the work on his own.
Right.
One of the other things, and keeping one of those two, that's maybe specific to him with the posting and or the driving from the leg. I'll sometimes say to him, I'm gonna let you output less, right? You can walk slower, I don't care. You can't stop. You can walk slower, I don't care. When I close my leg in a minute, if you don't trot, big trouble.
Yeah.
You can trot slower. I don't need you at this high RPM rate all the time. I'll kind of, it's like you just negotiate a contract in a way where you go, you just keep trotting right now. You can trot at any energy level you want to. It's going to be really applicable in the
Yeah. Yeah.
You can output any energy level you want to. And I might sit up there and go, this is not enough. Like, this is not enough to do anything with, right?
Yeah.
But I look at it and go, let it be not enough to do anything with. But get out of the equation of helping.
Okay.
Then ask them to do something. So, like my one course for teaching, the one it's lazy, I'll go, you can camera however you want to camera. Okay. But I'm gonna take you deep into the corner. That's one of his big bends, is for him. I'm gonna go in that corner, and when I get in that corner, if you don't do this, if you quit, if you break, if you don't kind of bend, now you get in trouble. So that it's not me holding up the energy going, I know I need you to bend in that corner because I want to half pass when I come out of it. I go, you're on your own, buddy. I don't care what energy you give me, but it needs to be enough that when I task you with this job, you can do it. And you just keep
Actually
putting
used
that
the
burden
blanket
on
this
him, which
morning.
is then to say, when he doesn't do that job, which is energy based, you know, or where I'm saying this is using energy, then they just get a correction right there to the end.
They lied about the temp today for sure.
Good. Real quiet, slow posting, not too much help. It'll feel lazy, right?
Yeah.
Now, granted, it can't feel so lazy like, oh my God, he's barely doing it, right? All I want to think of though is I'm just not the one pedaling. I'm not doing any work to keep him going. Good.
Sorry.
Ask for a little counterweight, but I didn't take the time to put the transition in the brakes. And now, guys, start coming going.
There's
I'm not
nothing to hold
gonna
on to on
send
her
you
phone,
up
it's
into
so
the
thin.
camera, I'm not gonna change the top. I'm just gonna ask.
No.
Good, right mindset on your part on the follow through. Trot just when you're ready, because it'll lead. Yeah, take the time, set it up again. Careful not to let go this time. Take a minute, yeah, if he needs a little bend, if he needs a little wiggle on the bit to kind of go don't wanna pull the neck down, but it gets in his way. When it gets that high, better. Good. So same rules now, you can kind of go, you can get as lazy as you want about cantering.
As long as you're cantering.
As long as you're cantering, yeah. And then I'm really gonna kind of let the leg come off, let your feet sink into your back. There, and that's that moment, which is good. You almost thought of flattening out and you let him make the mistake. And that's that moment where right then, when he does break, don't lean forward, don't let go, don't squeeze hard, just touch a width and go, no.
Okay. Keep going.
Keep going, yep. When you're ready, down transition again. Good. Quiet posting, heel down, tap. Good. If he'll let you, have it shorter in range, just a little. Because the energy level there has got a good flow to it.
Yeah.
That little wiggle on the bit, that littlest bit more contact from the shorter range. To just keep saying, your frame, although you don't need to be like on the bit, you could be a little softer over your top line right there, to where the flow of energy is less impeded by that little lift or brace in the neck. Good, hand to camera again when you're ready. Careful not to let it go. That's one of the big things that always gets into, I can't enter unless you let go.
Yeah.
Or I can't give you the energy you want unless you let the reins out an inch. The problem is they lie. Good, yeah. So they'll go, if you give me that inch, I'll give you the canter, and then they go, but wait, actually I need 2 inches now.
Yeah.
And then they still won't, I just need 1 more inch, and then I'll canter. And it's that constant negotiation. This looks good. Nice. Staging down, heel down, leg long, touch away. Good. Nice. Trot when you're ready. Don't fly as he hits the trot. Don't let go if he tries to quit or he slows down too much. Tap the whip if he does. Leg just stays long. Good. One more canter, better frame there.
Yeah.
One more canter with that, just in a minute when you're ready.
Okay.
Keep the bit just quietly moving, right, left, squeezing. Some of that, sometimes think that with the contact, just that little bit of play
Yeah.
is kind of, I always equate it to hold music when you're on with the airline, right? There's the reason there's hold music is so you know you're not disconnected, right? So you know there's still someone there eventually, hopefully. So that little bit of squeeze work on the bit is basically like hold music. Nothing's wrong right now. I'm not asking you to do anything different, but I'm still up here. And I'm still talking to you, and I'm going to in a minute, yeah. The other is that little squeeze to just soften the jaw.
I didn't do the Santa hat ones. The Jennifer did them.
Oh, there you go.
That little bit of dialogue. Long and on.
Never quite sure if I should follow or just wide pan and stay in one place. I get dizzy doing that.
One of the pieces with that little bit of bit play also is it'll remind me to keep a contact.
Yeah.
Keep something going on up front. Because he's maybe a good example of that. When they have the stickiness and we need to kind of chase them a bit, coming forward, they're always going, hey, nothing like where we got to go. I always equate it to like feet on in the house with the front door. So the furnace will work. The furnace is
I see 2 girls and no bramble.
Closed, but the efficiency is dependent on all of the doors and windows being closed, right?
Oh, maybe
When
it's
they get the
Addie's.
rating or you know how much
Addie's daughter.
electricity or fuel it burns, right? So when everything's closed up, it burns at a way more efficient rate. Whereas when there's a door open, there's a draft, and it's pulling out, in the case of the horse, the front door's open, the energy I'm producing back there is leaving the body at the same rate it's being produced. So the body never becomes more pressurized or energized.
Yeah.
So that little bit of contact, that's what I was saying in the beginning, like, if you want to manipulate his neck a little bit, only because I wanna have contact just enough around this that I'm saying to the energy, this cycles and recycles. Instead of gets created and pushed out, it gets kind of sucked back in the intake vent on the other end. And then kind of pushed into the furnace, and gets reheated again and driven back over the top line.
Is it just Laura and then Teresa? Is that it?
No, there's a home.
Hmm. I haven't seen them yet.
Alana.
Hmm.
Laura, Alana, Teresa.
Okay.
Do you know Alana? She's every clinic she comes.
Then one of the things too with
Yeah,
that.
I just
changing
You'll
don't
recognize
recall her.
what you're
Yeah.
saying.
She was at the last one, and she was here at the
One
one.
of the hardest things is, and I fight that fight with that big horse I have, because I look at him and I think he should be a bigger mover than that. You know, like with him, I'm not going, oh my God, you should be a huge, bigger mover than that. But I also go, if I stop driving, he kind of talks like a pony.
Yeah.
He doesn't have enough energy, right? But what I think about for a minute with the horse I have is I go, but that's kind of the nature of his behavior. You know, like when he's really left to his own devices, that's kind of how he just trots in piano. Even though he has the aptitude to trot piano a little bigger or a little more, it is a little outside of the nature of his game, right?
Yeah.
So if I get on and I kind of say to him, I need you to produce this bigger powered F8, and this, the one I have is very spooky, but he's very insecure and he looks at everything. And I'm pushing them past the point that his body's comfortable functioning, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm always pushing them past the point where he's comfortable functioning, he's always going to push back at me a little bit to do less, if that makes sense.
Right.
He's always kind of going, that's faster than I can handle going. The world is passing me by too fast, right? And I notice it a lot on mine when I trail run him, which I hate doing because he's so spooky. But I notice if I let him walk like a slump, like that's how he wants to walk, right?
Yeah.
He's less spooky than when I chase him faster, right?
Yeah.
Because when I let him walk real slow and he can kind of look at everything, you can feel him processing it. And I started thinking under saddle, I'm like, if I do the same thing under saddle, I know that sounds silly, he doesn't spook that much.
Yeah.
Under saddle, but I wonder if he just is a slow processor, and I have to let his brain just work a little slower, because when I do that, I find his body feels softer and more relaxed.
Yeah.
So as the ride goes on, I can get more energy out of him. Whereas if I get on him and I go, okay, this energy level isn't right, whack, kick, drive, I create so much tension in him that he's always going to categorize trying to slow that down, right?
Right.
So that's where I say, let him make the mistake. He strikes me a little bit similar, different, but similar. Where I go, let him trot a canter a little slower than it feels like you want to. Just fight that feeling a little bit. Elbows either side, toes be even smaller, legs off. You can absolutely use the whip though, right? You absolutely can say, look, that's a little too slow. You do have to have kind of a limit or a speedometer, you know, a cruise control setting where you go, it's that or more, but not less. Good. Good. One of the best gauges too is going, okay, that caught me, it's a little slow. Maybe, who cares? Sit, you can ask him again. And when he really struggles to get together, then he gets in a little bit of trouble. As long as the struggle again is energy based or reaction based. And sit, and when you're ready. Take the time up and sit again. Ask again. Good, nice. It's there, yep. That's better actually sitting heavier on them, sinking a little more. Good. Sitting into them. That's just that feel of, you just don't want to squeeze, drive, chase. You want to start sitting in, kind of teasingly, you know, your biggest job up there is just enjoying it. not to work hard, right? So every time you kind of find you're working hard versus able to just sink in and enjoy them, take that moment and go, that's good. I'm gonna start easing away, backing away from the work. Wow, and you're right, good. Nice. A little squeeze on the bit, just constant. Good. Better with the posting.
I was just gonna say.
Wider through your body.
Posting's looking really good.
Feel really slow down. Counter again when you're ready. Just regroup. Yep. When you go to counter this time, when you go sit, you just want to sit slider through your spine, right? When your leg comes on, think of touching your pinkies to anything they touch. It doesn't matter what they touch. Wherever they just naturally fall to. When you ask for counter, don't let them move from that spot. You don't have to like force them back. You just your hand and where you just go. They're not going to move from here once they ask. If he doesn't counter right away, tickle away. And keep kind of chasing them up to it. Going, that was the aim, you don't get another chance. Tap, good. Because there's a lot of that dialogue, he's not alone in that, right? You ask him to counter, there's this little panic response in his body. He kind of just throws himself forward. Then he gets you in that little panic zone, shit. He's not countering. And then you're hoping in the next stride or two he'll get countering and it just gets worse. Not always, but it does. And then when it doesn't get better and it gets worse, then we abort mission, we come back and we try again. And I think weirdly, that makes him more insecure. Because then he goes, well shit, if you don't know what you're doing, you know what I mean, then I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So there's that place, and those transitions are really a noticeable one, not specific to him, but definitely applicable. Where I'll go, okay, this trot's good. My leg is quiet, you're a little slow, but that's your thing, not mine. My hand is gonna just set down, I'm gonna sit, I'm gonna ask for counter, and I'm gonna make you counter when you're ready. Good. You ready with the good? Okay, you just touch down and go. Keep going. Good. Yeah. As much as you can go to the width in there, do it. Yep. That's again kind of every transition is a little different, but that's your go-to. It's going to be the width. Good. A little play on the bit. I like the camera once he's in there. Try it. Come on, one more of those, take time. The shape is nice. The trot power there is plenty. Wiggling and that little play. Yes! That's the one. Because like you just did, which they do often, they go, oh, you mean this camera.
Yeah.
He just jumped right to it, like, ow.
He's like, I know what that means.
Yeah, that little sting of the lid or the pop bursts into the squeeze.
Okay.
The pop startles him and jumps him forward, whereas the bear hug squeeze of the leg makes tighten his body against the squeeze. And it's real noticeable in the camera more than anywhere else. Walk break spine. Where I say it's noticeable in the camera is they'll go to break or they think about breaking. They're slowing down, backing off, whatever, right? He's about to break. A gut instinct, clamp the leg. And what do they usually do? Drop the trot line, right? Because what you notice is this squeeze of leg, the camera itself has this kind of movement to the back. And as this movement starts to slow down or the wave starts to get too long, there's not enough air time to bring the hind legs under enough, and the body's falling down to the top. So as this wave motion is starting to slow down or elongate, when I squeeze, the wave motion freezes. And the minute it freezes, they break. Whereas that pop whip, if I can get away with whack, and they go whoosh back under with the hind legs, and the back goes boing back up into the air, and off they go in the corner without really, I mean, they can run away with me at that point, but they don't run away with me in the top at that point, right? The same thing then for the depart, where I go, if I walk out in the field where I was on the lunge line and I really kind of pop them with the lunge whip where I really crack it, and they bolt or jolt forward, they always jump to camera. They don't bolt off in the top, generally speaking. One, just because that's the faster gait, but it's also when the body startles and the back goes up versus the swing action of the trot. That doesn't mechanize from the back going round. It usually mechanizes from the back going flat, so which is noticeable when the horses are startled, but not flight instinct startled. What do? Head comes up, they snort and go passaging away, right? But they're looking kind of over their shoulder behind them. Like, I don't really need to run from you, but you just scared me. Whereas if they want to run from something, it's always more that handoff reaction. So right there, just to case in point to me, that smack just got hard enough and his body jumped right to the person ran forward in the trot. And usually they run in the trot, and as a rider, the first thought is, oh shit, I better let go if I want to get right? He's telling me he can't canter. Meanwhile, the leg is squeezing and I'm letting go, and they just run faster. One of the, I think, pieces I was saying that to Mark about that horse I have about, I don't know why or how this horse I've been able to train in years past all the baby ones and just make them angry. And I think with him, I just realized I'm stuck with him, right? I really like the owner, and the owner doesn't want to ride him. And she doesn't want to sell him, she just, and I'm like, I guess I'm kind of stuck with him, so I got to figure out a way to ride him. That doesn't mean I don't bash him every once in a while, but as a general rule, he keeps getting better and hotter, because I think we're just coming to this agreement that my body wants him producing more energy, but his body isn't comfortable with that output level. And so I just think to myself, I have to dumb down my feeling to his comfort zone. And then just slowly keep trying to sway him over to outputting more, he really is. But every day, every time, it just happened this week with my friend at my place teaching, every time you try to push him out of that zone, he starts getting so tight in his body that he makes all these mistakes everywhere, and it just train wrecks worse and worse. Okay, try it one more time. I just want one or two more of those trot together.
He's got to poop.
Good, right there. Just enough movement on the bit, kind of have that dialogue. And again, don't overthink it, don't speed up into it when you're getting into it. Good, better. Still let go just a little bit, but way better off the leg. Yeah. Off the body just an inch back. A little pretty camera anyway. And find that little touch point with the pinky. Remember, second stride in, if he's not gathering, catch a whip. Good, nice. I love that. Yeah. Then he's a little rounder on better contact through after. Good. Good. Yeah. walk once, crazy, just short break, and then do the same again left, way better. Then one of the things where I'm saying like they lose confidence or gain it, which is weird to say, I get them more confident by hitting them with the whip right here. But if you think about it, it makes sense. Because right in that moment, if I don't tap him and make him, and he scrambles off, which a lot of them do, he's scrambling off, his head's high, his back's hollow, he's tense, and things are really uncomfortable. So right in this moment, he's a little worried, and it's being validated by all the things that are happening to him.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So out of the transition, I just gave him the one smack, jump right to counter.
Yeah.
And he starts kind of going, oh, that felt better in my body. That didn't feel as weird or as bad.
Yeah.
So in a funny way, like being hard around or using the whip like that is actually weirdly created more relaxed form. It's not that whipping that makes them relax.
Right.
But if I look at these two options of when he scrambles off and is uncomfortable, which you can't help when that happens.
Right, yeah.
If I look at it and I go, he doesn't, take any blame for that. He doesn't go to therapy and go, well, that was my fault, like I did that to the world or I did that to this person. He just looks at you and it's all your fault.
It is all
Right. So if I can take that away, which is to say, I give him the smack and he's already countering, before he has the chance to go bad, feel bad,
Yeah.
or blame me for anything other than just making him work hard. Take time, look quiet, posting, legs are long, stretched down, hands are just low, quiet. They find that little resting spot just before you out to the counter.
Isn't that nice?
They can always kind of live there, although it's not a necessity. So notice, right when you asked them to counter, you were good with the whip, you were fidgeting with the reins, right when you asked. And that might be like, shit, I don't have enough contact right now, right? Because he's gonna scramble away. So one of the things has to happen. One, either shorten the rein before you counter. Maybe that resting point is with the hands in front of the heel, or leave a vacant, get him to counter, then shorten the rein. Just don't do it in the transition. Yeah. Good. Find a little resting spot. Don't change the rein length. Fingers closed. There you go. Great. And again, that's looking more anchored and settled in your body. Just less help overall. Good.
Feels more relaxed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's what I was
Looks more
thinking,
relaxed.
easily, right? You hit it with the whip, and then you do the transition on grade, it gets more relaxed. Just because everything gets softer, less tension, less to blame on you, more fear. Yeah. Good save. Wow. Nice. The thing with that relaxation too is you'll also find it starts feeling more energetic, right? A little easier to keep moving. And that's because the blockade, the holding or the bracing softens, it goes away, the roadblock gets removed. So even though I might be trotting or cantering slower, it feels more flowy. So it feels way more energized. Like it's more easy to sustain the energy, it's more easy to create the energy. That was, like I was saying about the one I had, it was real noticeable with me now more and more. When I have days like this week when I had a lesson on a friend of mine, where I was like, he is so.
I'm like, where's the cat?
I feel like that weirdly. I let him slow down. And I know visually everything everyone wants to do is just like chase him around. And that's, I have to say, like, I'm always telling people don't ride what it feels like, ride what it looks like. But even in that scenario, I think I would still ride what it looks like, because if you push them, you can see how tight the brace the whole body gets. Whereas if you just ease off a little bit, the whole body softens a little. So yeah, it might look like he's trotting with less power, but it ends up looking way softer overall. Yeah. And then I think, so a little pulse leg would go a long way there. Whereas if you break, a little sometimes that too, you wanna look at the, like I was saying about the nature of the gait, or the gut reaction. Like my 5-year-old started running, his gut reaction is to run, which is great, right? That's what he's supposed to do. But he's real flighty, right? My other horse started him, and his gut reaction is, and that correlates under saddle.
Right.
My 5-year-old, if you goose him, he bolts out from underneath you. The big guy, if I goose him, he freezes like rock, right? That makes sense, because that's who he is. That's who he is on the ground. So then part of our work is working with the nature of what their innate reactions are. And his is definitely that, like, you're driving me and my neck comes up and my back gets tight. That is the wrong reaction, but I also think to myself, man, I can't, in one sense, I can't get after that too much because it'll get worse. But in another sense, I have to get on the other side of it. So I still have to correct them to go forward, but I have to keep in mind that if the drive from my body, if he tightens from it, and I'm driving all the time, I'm always driving and tightening.
Right.
Hence I take the driving to the right, which hand I need. At first I trot around with the hand around, and it's slow and lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Good work.